If you have to clean the kitchen, what can make that more pleasurable? Would it be more fun to be in cozy sweats with some really great music? Would it be more fun to have your favorite beverage? I don't know. What would make it more pleasurable? Would it be more fun if your partner was naked? I don't know these things. You can try them out.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the Pleasurable convo I had with Jordin Wiggins, Dr. Jordin Wiggins to be exact, in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that one, you have missed out, and you can listen to that one after you listen to this one, or pause this one, listen to that one, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
They're all here for you.
Do it.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah. Before we get into that, today is Thursday, October 10th, and it's World Mental Health Day. I also wanted to say it's really hard to choose because there's actually a lot of world days. Normally there's like a world day.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There was a lot of world days, including information on world homelessness problem, some other things. Brad also saw a vegan burger thing. So, but the World Mental Health Day felt like it encompassed most of the other world days. So World Mental Health Day is October 10th. And as our understanding of mental health grows, we grow along with it. Mental health has come a long way since the early 90s, when the World Federation of Mental Health, WFMH, officially established the day. Our self-awareness and sensitivity towards it have changed things for the better. Our language surrounding mental health has improved as words like crazy and lunatic are used less flippantly, and we come to better understand that can be unintentionally hurtful and stigmatizing. While we've learned a lot, there's still so much more we can do to evolve as a society.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good description. When we were younger in the 90s,
people use the R word.
They did.
Just to say something was like, this cup.
Yeah. Or, I still think the word insane is thrown out there really a lot. I mean, we don't know that many people who are truly insane. So I guess
given the current climate we are in, there are a particular person who is making me use some of these words in the towards that person without them having been tested, and I feel really bad about it. But also, what else do we say?
Yeah,
which is why maybe why weird is there. But also, I do agree, growing up, no one really talked about mental health, and was kind of rare that anyone would go see a therapist. And all of this stuff. And now,
or it was awkward.
And you had to force
you're seeing
yourself
a therapist?
to get things done, and you had to rally all the time. And now we can
even things like ADHD, and ADD.
Right. But also it's so easy. I have, friends that you love who really care about you, get hey, can we catch up? It's I'm taking a mental health day. They're not oh, you're bailing on me again. People just go, okay. Yeah. It's actually really seen to be a positive thing. And also sometimes when people don't take care of their mental health, I'm like, what is going on with you? Why aren't you taking care of yourself?
Yeah.
This is the world we live in where you can. So I think it's really cool. And also I just want to say it is World Homelessness Day. Please look at where you are and see what you can do to help, because especially in the States, the Supreme Court just made it legal for towns to make it illegal to be homeless. And so I don't know how the fuck they think these people are going to re-enter society if they go to jail for being homeless. And then guess what? They can't get an apartment. How are they going to get most jobs? I have so many problems about this. So, and as someone who's been without address a few times, if you have judgment towards people who are homeless, I ask you to check that, because there's a lot of different reasons people are homeless. Not every homeless person doesn't have a job. Oftentimes it's because it's really hard to get affordable housing near where they work.
Yeah.
And if you live in a really nice neighborhood and you're like, there's fucking homeless here. Well, guess who is going to work at your Subway? How can they afford to live close and in that neighborhood? So we need to really invest in city planning and taking a lot of looks at these things, and really making sure that mental health facilities and support systems are invested in, because that is who is helping the homeless. Okay, I'll get off my little soapbox.
Okay. Well, upcoming here next February, Lesley and I are going to be back in Cambodia. We are currently in Cambodia right now, literally hosting a retreat as we speak. So obviously recorded this ahead of time, but it is literally one of our most favorite things to do in the world. And I say that being on the other side of the world right now.
While you're listening to this, we are at a lotus farm.
That's
just
right.
saying it.
Yeah. No, that's actually exactly where we are. We're literally at a lotus farm. We're
making flowers and necklaces.
Yeah, and we are floating on a lake with lotuses all over it. It is stunningly beautiful
at sunset.
Yeah. And you too could join us next February. We're going to do it again. So it is gorgeous, amazing. It's inspirational. It will change your perspective on so many things when you see how other people live their lives. And the people of Cambodia are so friendly and open and just nice and kind. And we get to go not only meet them, see them, experience their food and culture, but then we get to explore something that is truly incredible, the eighth wonder of the world, the Temple of Angkor Wat. It is the largest religious structure on the planet Earth. It is unbelievable. It is literally temples in the middle of the jungle that have been reconstructed here now. And you got to see it. It's a bucket list thing. So we want you to come with us. Go to crowsnestretreats.com, crowsnestretreats.com. What do we got coming next?
Well, when we come back, I, continue to ready myself for the accessory shoot, which is going to be in LA. So I'm actually going to be in LA for a week doing some work and just preparing my strength and stamina for some of the exercise we have to take pictures of. I'm so excited for this. This is actually going to be a really cool shoot. We're actually using another studio for the guillotine in there. So if you want the accessories deck, which is the 6th deck and the final deck in the flashcard decks, this is the last one. And I don't see us doing a prequel or a spinoff. This is it. This is the last installment.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I know. Somebody else is like, somebody already thought, like, you can do an expansion deck. And I was like, we're not doing that. Don't. I want to, no. But never say never. So here's the deal. Go to opc.me/flashcard waitlist because only those on the waitlist get access to the pre-sale price. The pre-sale price is a short time window, sometime in the 2025 year. And then you wait while we wait for them to print and ship to you, and you get them for the best price. So opc.me/flashcard waitlist.
Yep. Next up, I am hosting a webinar coming up really soon called the Pilates Studio Growth Accelerator. Go to prfit.biz/accelerator. That's profit without the o.biz/accelerator. If you're feeling at all stuck in your business, if you are wondering why you can't bring in more clients or make the money that you want to be making, we're going to be covering all those things. Lesley and I have coached more than 2,000 businesses through our agency coaching program, and we boiled it down to these 3 big secrets, y'all. And I'm going to be digging into them live with you on this free webinar. So go to prfit.biz/accelerator.
And then finally, last up for the year, the last thing of the year is the winter tour and actually goes into the new year. So we actually kick off the year on tour.
On the road.
And we're doing 23 cities in like 35 days. We want to see you. We're probably going to be somewhere where you live and maybe somewhere you're visiting. And so, yes, you can come to multiple cities. We had one person do 3 stops in the summer tour.
We did.
And several people do 2 stops on the summer tour. So go to opc.me/tour to make sure you don't miss out on when we release the cities.
Love it. All right, before we get into it here, pretty soon we're going to be covering what Dr. Jordin Wiggins was digging into about pleasure, which I thought was really cool. But before we get there, let's get to the audience question. Today, Instagram, we have Professional Acro on Instagram asked, hey, in your YouTube videos, do you have an intermediate level chair 1 to 2 in order? And also, quick questions, please, if there are any special order for the spine corrector. Thank you so much. So it's kind of a twofer right there.
She has a twofer in there. Like how she snuck it in. So Joe Pilates did, and by the way, I sometimes say Joseph, but then I hear Jay on my shoulder going, oh, his name is Joe, not Joseph. I mean, he was born Joseph, but there's like a special, like
Joe,
just like he was blue collar. It was Joe, right?
He was Joe.
So Joe Pilates did not have an order on the chair or the spine corrector. Now, there are series that can have orders to them. On the one to chair, there isn't really like, except for footwork, there isn't really like any order to any of the other series. Obviously, the press down series, you can do front side crossover. That's typically what people do because it makes a lot of sense. But you could also just do side, just do crossover. So there's that. On the spine corrector, there is the leg series and there's the arm series, and they have an order. which by the way are in the Barrels deck. It exists.
What?
And that is out. It has been shipping for a while now.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it. So those do have orders in the series, but again, you omit what's not appropriate for your practice yet.
Yep.
And then you stay in that order. But the other thing about Joe is that he didn't have the levels. So I definitely don't have what you're looking for.
There were no levels when Joseph Pilates created Contrology.
No, I mean, what I tell people in my mentorship program is like, if it's overhead, it's obviously not something you teach someone who's new. There you go.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
then if it requires 2 spine shapes in it, then it might actually be a little bit more difficult than exercises that require 1 spine shape in it. So that really helps you kind of go, which exercise should I teach first? Just a little common sense. So I don't have what you're asking for on YouTube, but I have everything that exists on the Win a Chair that Joe taught and on the spine corrector and everything else that Joseph Pilates created as a free video in any of the playlists on the channel. And also almost all are on flashcards. The accessories deck is coming.
Yeah, and they're also collected really nicely and neatly in one location on our website. So if you go to onlinepilatesclasses.com and go to the tutorials, you will find the section specifically for the chair that you might be looking at, because we've got them broken down across the different types of chairs even. So you could just go to the site and see them all collected together in one place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great question. Thanks for asking that. If you have a question, you can actually text us 310-905-5534, 310-905-5534. If you live outside of the States or you just use Instagram more often, just ping us at the Beit Pod on IG or obviously on YouTube. So thanks so much and stick around. We'll be right back. Okay, now let's talk about Dr. Jordin Wiggins. Dr. Jordin Wiggins is a naturopathic doctor, pleasure and intimacy coach. She's the author of The Pink Canary and host of the Pleasure Principles podcast. She's dedicated to helping high-achieving women heal feminine burnout and reconnect with their pleasure, empowering them to transform their health and their happiness. I thought this was really cool because I didn't understand this idea of feminine burnout versus non-feminine burnout. And she didn't exactly like clinically describe what that means, but I have a feeling it has a lot to do with hormones too. So yeah.
Well, because she talks about like burnout, it leads into constant cortisol production. And when cortisol is high, we know this from a hormone podcast we listened to, Brad, progesterone is low.
That's
Remember?
right. Yeah.
So progesterone
is low.
doesn't
And
like
progesterone is what helps you sleep and helps you
and it's like
get
a
out of
warm
stress
hug around your body. It's so awesome. It can make the hormone, it can like lead you into your cycle in like a great way or not a great way.
Yeah, the cortisol is important. You need it, but like we overproduce it because we jack ourselves up with stress and with caffeine and all these other things. And we're just basically out of balance.
Yeah, for sure. So here's what's so great. We have an agency member who went on vacation and she took extra time and then she found herself in anxiety on the extra days. And now I'm discovering what she didn't do was microdose pleasure, which is what Dr. Jordin Wiggins tells us to do.
Interesting.
She says, when you're experiencing feminine burnout, the pleasure center in your brain is turned off. So if you gave yourself all these extra days off and you've never had them before,
right,
you kind of put yourself in a stressful place because it actually isn't going to feel safe.
Yeah.
So what Dr. Jordin Wiggins is telling us is start to microdose our pleasure slowly and turn up the dial to get it turned back on.
Yeah. So there's a clinical name for this where pleasure centers are turned off. Yeah, that's right. Anhedonia.
Anhedonia.
Yeah.
We talked, there's a great part of the podcast. You want to go listen to like she discovered what that was. And it's the inability to feel pleasure and joy.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is kind of insane. Like we chase what makes us feel good, which is usually checking a thing off a list. Right. But there comes a point where you're just maxed out on that. And that could take, it seems like that could take a long time to get to, but once you're there, what do you do? Yeah. You're just stuck. Right. So I think it's pretty interesting to, what did she say? Microdose pleasure.
I love it.
To help reintroduce this idea. And just so that y'all know, she did talk about sex. She did talk about the intimacy and physical pleasure, but she also talked about more than just that. She said that's of course part of it, but that's not what the only part of the conversation we're talking about here. What can bring you joy? What can bring you pleasure from having a glass of water? What can bring you joy from taking a morning walk, enjoying the breeze? Like, these are the things
like
that,
if you are going for your morning walk, I did my morning walk. Okay.
Check.
Oh, check. Go sit in the front in the sunshine. Check.
Okay. Check.
Like if you are not actually
Got that vitamin D. What's next?
enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
I really love when I get lost on a walk and I come back and I'm like, oh, I didn't, because I normally go on Instagram and go, good morning, happy Tuesday, da-da. A lot of times lately, I've just fucking got home and go, oh, hey guys, it was a great walk. You missed it.
Yeah.
You missed it. It was so pleasurable. I had such a good time.
That's pretty funny.
What did you love?
Okay, so she talked about recognizing burnout, and she explained that hormones, a lot of the time, they are a lag indicator, meaning burnout and stress have already impacted the body before hormone imbalances actually show up. It's like they're behind the 8 ball here, y'all. Another analogy there. But while hormone imbalance and adrenal dysfunction occur, it is compounded and then it is layered. Okay, so by the time you're actually realizing that you're in this place, it has been happening for a while and it is compounded and it is layered. Okay, so that's a problem. How do we then unfuck that, basically, right? She emphasized resilience comes from a regulated nervous system. A well-regulated nervous system can handle stress without leading to those hormone imbalances. But when you're past that point already, what do you do to come back, right? And that comes right back to what you're talking about, microdosing that joy, microdosing pleasure. I don't really understand why this is feminine only, because this seems very applicable to me too.
Jordin, if you're listening, we would like to know. Actually, the time we're recording this, tomorrow I'm actually on her podcast.
Oh,
so
get out.
Not tomorrow in the time you're listening, guys, but tomorrow in the time that Brad and I are here.
Oh, well, you can ask.
I'm going to ask her.
Great.
I'll ask her for you. I'll say, hey, Brad would like to know.
Why? I would love to know. I would absolutely love to know, because I think that we have adrenals. It's like,
and it's also possible, like she studies women and she's always been in a women's clinic. And so that's why she can't just say it's
maybe. And she specifically, that's her
masculine
ICA.
burnout. I don't know. But also like,
that's her ideal client avatar. If you all don't study.
Yeah, but also like it might just be where she's had more experience in the medicine world. She might not have worked with men. I don't know.
Well, a well-regulated nervous system can handle stress without leading to hormone imbalances. So how do you get a well-regulated nervous system? She said resilience, right? And we didn't really have a deep conversation about resilience. So I think that's another great question to ask her is like, how do you build resilience? How do you create a well-regulated nervous system through resilience? What does that actually mean? I'd be interested to learn more.
Okay. Dr. Jordin Wiggins.
Yeah, notes. We got notes.
Apparently we have more questions. I didn't do a great job. No. Missed 2 important questions. No. We'd like you to come.
It's all good. I wasn't a rag on you, my dear. You're amazing.
I am amazing, but I missed those. So yes. Okay.
Well, we're going to dig in even more about what Dr. Jordin Wiggins said in the Be It Action item. So stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, let's talk about those Be It action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Dr. Jordin Wiggins? She said, hey, pull out your phone, make a note of things that you can do to help microdose your pleasure. More specifically, make a list of pleasurable activities, right? So when you have built in that downtime for your day, you can pull out your note and you could say, what do I actually want to do? She talked about doing a puzzle, reading a book. She didn't mention it, but we did taking a walk.
But I think, I don't know if I talked about this with her, but when my therapist was trying to get me to like not work all the time.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, I said, I've got the time blocked out. I have time to do nothing and I can't do nothing.
Right.
And so she said, write down all the things you could do. And then just look at it, go, when that time comes, go, of these things, what do I want to do? So you could do the same thing here. You make a big list of like what would feel pleasurable to you. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like having a chocolate bar and a glass of wine. I don't know.
I mean, that's pleasurable.
Yeah. Something.
She talked about reading erotic books, especially if
you guys could read Eliza David's erotic novels. Remember her from the pod?
Yeah.
Kelly Forkenbrock. She writes erotic novels that are with
They were on Amazon for...
They're like a fucking $1,
for like
guys.
$1. That's what I was going to say. I didn't want to throw it out there without confirming it. But yeah, I think there was a whole conversation in the last episode about sex being like a chore, checking it off. Okay, did that. Now I don't have to worry about it, And there's part of this microdosing pleasure that can help rekindle some like actual interest. And
also,
so
there are so many
reading a
erotic
book like that could
novels
be
now
good.
that don't look like the ones that were sold at grocery stores. I was just like, my grandma always bought
Like
all
some
of those.
dude who's some jack dude in front of like a
You mean
fucking
Fabio?
sailboat.
You mean like just Fabio?
Yeah, or Fabio with long golden hair.
Oh my God.
Yeah, hold
Every
on.
time Fabio would come to the gym,
For those
I
YouTubers.
couldn't look at
Oh my God.
Fabio. I couldn't look at Fabio because like he's on like the cover of half my grandmother's books. You know what I mean? Or like some, I was just like, oh my God. Oh my
That's
God.
hilarious.
But also like you can microdose it. I'm reading Jodi Picoult's book. My first time reading a Jodi Picoult. I'm reading By Any Other Name. And there are some micro moments of erotic pleasure in there. And I was like, oh, this is a fun book. And then I'm like, maybe there. So I don't know. If you have a fun erotic novel that I should be reading that is not 50 Shades of anything, send it my way.
Yeah, reach out.
Anyways, go. That's a beat action. I think it's also fun. Also, like,
Yeah, what
pleasure
about you?
can also be art. It can be a lot of things. So it doesn't have to be those things.
I mean, pleasure can even be taking a break, right? Like
do you know what I do every morning that I find pleasurable?
Tell me.
I don't do it every day of every year, but in this moment, what I'm finding pleasure in is doing the diffusers. We have 2 in the house.
I noticed them
And
recently.
I also do my humidifier for my beautiful plants. And then sometimes during the day, I'm like, oh, this just feels boring. And I'm like, what would make this more fun? Or what would this make this work more pleasurable? And I will find a playlist that I want to listen to.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
I don't listen to it on my earbuds. I listen to it on a speaker
in the room.
So
Yeah.
it takes up this ambiance and it's so fun.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
so-
pleasure.
Anyways.
Well, what's your biggest takeaway?
Okay, so we talked about this, but this is a beat action item for you. And here it is. Ask yourself, how can I make this moment more pleasurable?
That's right.
So you can take a list of things that could be pleasurable, or how can I make the moment right now more pleasurable? The moment that I'm in this moment. And pleasure can be erotic, or it can just be pleasure is also another word for joy, fun, enjoyment. So if you have to clean the kitchen, like what can make that more pleasurable? Would it be more fun to be in like cozy sweats with some really great music? Would it be more fun to like have your favorite beverage? I don't know. Like what would make it more pleasurable? Would it be more fun if your partner was naked? I don't know these things. Try them out. And then she said, incorporate small pleasurable tweaks into daily life. So what little tweaks, little micro doses can we do to feel better? So start with micro doses. This is a be it till you see it, not a like 100% it. And by the way, Aaron Hatzakostas 50% rule and apply it to pleasure in this moment. And I bet you'll have a little bit more pleasurable moments. I'm just saying.
I love it.
So take a listen to Dr. Jordin Wiggins. And if you like her, you can go listen to the episode I'm going to be on her podcast. I wonder what we're talking about.
It's called Pleasure Principles. That's the pod. We'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, we will. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Kroll.
How are you going to use these tips in your life? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Share this with a friend. If you've got a friend who's just always saying like, I'm so burnt out, they need to hear this.
I want to know how many of you are going to make your husband be naked in the kitchen.
Okay. You don't. Do you really want to know this, Brad? No, you don't. He's joking. He's joking. He's joking. Also, just so
that is funny.
We have these like
I might not ever be able to meet your husbands.
No,
if you tell
don't
me.
tell
So
him.
don't tell me.
Don't tell. Keep it to yourself. That's what's pleasurable about it. But we do have, I'm going to not keep this to myself. We have this film on the glass that like you can't really see in our house unless it's at night when the lights are on. And sometimes I think you forget that.
Me?
Yes.
Maybe.
Because we don't have any window treatments.
Not telling y'all where I live.
Oh, okay. Also, hopefully our neighbors don't listen. My dad asked if one of our neighbors still is naked in the backyard.
Oh.
And I said, not that I've seen because I don't look there since I know that.
I'm pretty sure he must have seen me on the roof and been like, well, last time we're doing this.
No, it's not because my dad saw him back there, walk out, go into their fish pond, grab a fish out with his hand and like walk back in the house totally naked.
What?
And so here's what I want to say.
I love this guy.
Yeah. Here's what I want to say. I was like, well, Dad, he wants his tan to be even. But here's what I just want to say. He has no fucks to give.
No fucks.
That is pleasurable for him.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in it.
None.
I'm not looking because it's not pleasurable for me.
I mean, he's like 75. So
at minimum. So what I would just say is like, walk around your house naked.
That's awesome.
You know what? Walk in your backyard naked. It's if people see it, they were looking in your yard.
That's right.
In your windows. That's what they get for that. All right. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Kroll.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
This is immediately going to turn into a favorite episode.
My dad used that hotel room that we
use.
So we filmed a hotel room. Pilates videos, nothing fancy. But we couldn't stay in it because Gaia was leaving us later that week. So we came home, we gave the key to my dad. We dropped it off at his office and he's a security guard. We dropped it off and he went and he was like looking at the view and looking at all the things. And in the sunset, I didn't realize how close some of the windows were, but apparently at night, they're very close. And he said, oh, there are some people who are having a great time in their hotel rooms.
No way.
And I was like, good for them.
He did not tell me that.
That's a hotel. That's weird. I was tell his daughter. But I just want to say, I say all this because like they're having fun in their hotel room. We are all allowed to have a lot more fun. Life is fucking hard. There is always something to stress about.
Sure.
Find pleasure in those moments. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.